Angelo Santos had grown up in the narrow, colorful streets of Cebu City in the Philippines, where music echoed from every corner and life moved with a rhythm all its own. From the age of 6, he had listened to his grandfather's vinyl records, especially the ones of Elvis Presley that crackled softly with every spin. His grandfather, Lolo Ben, had been the first person to notice the boy's gift. While the neighbors believed Angelo was just naturally quiet, the elderly man understood that the boy was listening, absorbing, sensing music in a way that seemed to sit deep within his bones. When Lolo Ben passed away 2 years before Angelo set foot on the AGT stage, something inside Angelo broke, but something else awakened. His grandfather had always told him, "Someday the world will hear you, Apo. Someday they will feel what I feel when you sing." Those words echoed in his heart every day, but Angelo never imagined that someday would come so soon. His parents, both working long hours in a local market, did everything they could to support his dream, even if they barely had enough money to spare. One night, while watching YouTube videos on a cracked phone, Angelo stumbled on a clip of a boy auditioning for AGT. The roar of the American crowd, the shining lights, the massive stage unlike anything he had ever seen inspired him deeply. Quietly, without telling his parents at first, he found the website and filled out the audition form, attaching a shaky recording of himself singing "Can't Help Falling in Love." When he finally revealed it to his parents, they thought it was impossible. But destiny seemed determined. 3 months later, an email arrived inviting him to Los Angeles for an in-person audition. The journey to America was not easy. Angelo had never been on a plane, and his mother cried when she saw their tickets overseas. To afford the trip, the Santos family sold their beloved old tricycle that had been their livelihood for years. Neighbors pitched in what little they had. When news spread through their barangay, people began telling Angelo, "Win or lose, you are already our pride." On the flight, Angelo kept one hand in his pocket, holding the tiny microphone charm his grandfather had carved from wood. It gave him courage, but it also reminded him of the heavy promise he carried on his small shoulders. When he finally set foot in the AGT waiting area, he noticed how different he looked from other contestants. Some had professional outfits, vocal coaches, makeup teams, and confident smiles. Angelo only had a simple polo shirt, nervous hands, and a dream that felt too big for him. Backstage, he overheard 2 teenage contestants whispering, "He's so small. What is he going to do, sing karaoke?" They laughed. Angelo felt the sting in his chest, but he remembered what his mother always repeated, "Let them laugh, Anik. They don't know your fire." The time came when the stage manager called his name. Under the blazing lights, Angelo walked out, blinking as thousands of unfamiliar faces stared at him. Heidi Klum smiled sweetly, asking, "Hi there. What's your name and where are you from?" Angelo introduced himself softly, and Simon raised a curious brow. "How old are you?" 14, sir. "What will you be doing for us today?" I will sing an Elvis Presley song," Angelo replied, his voice trembling. "Elvis," Simon repeated, this time leaning back with something between skepticism and mild interest. "That is a big voice to take on. Good luck." When the music started, many expected another shy kid to fade under pressure. But the moment Angelo's voice rang out, warm, rich, emotional, the entire theater froze. His sound wasn't merely impressive, it carried the spirit of a young Elvis with a Filipino soul. He had a tone aged beyond his years, textured by struggle, shaped by memories, and fueled by a longing to make his grandfather proud. People stood up from their seats, some gasping, some cheering, as his voice soared effortlessly. Angelo closed his eyes, letting the music take over him entirely. But in the middle of the song, something unexpected happened. The speakers crackled. A sudden buzzing sound cut through the room. The audio glitched. The music track died completely. A wave of panic washed over Angelo. The audience murmured in confusion. Judges looked at each other. A technician ran backstage. For a heartbreaking moment, silence swallowed the room. Angelo froze. He had come so far. Was this how his dream would crumble? Then something extraordinary took place. A voice from the audience shouted, "Keep going. You can do it." Another yelled, "Sing it a cappella." Simon Cowell lifted a hand. The room went quiet. He locked eyes with Angelo and said, "Young man, take your time. Whenever you are ready, start again. No music. Just you." Angelo took a deep breath. He clutched the charm in his pocket and remembered his grandfather placing headphones on his small ears years ago, whispering, "Let your voice carry your heart." And so he began to sing, this time with no accompaniment, no track, no safety net. The rawness of his voice struck everyone. It was pure emotion, trembling but powerful, fragile yet unbreakable. Halfway through the song, tears streamed down the face of a woman in the front row. Heidi placed a hand on her heart. Sophia wiped her eyes. Even Howie, known for his humor, looked stunned. Simon leaned forward, both elbows on the desk, his face unreadable. Angelo hit the final note, letting it linger in the air, trembling like a final prayer. The room erupted. People were shouting, applauding, stamping their feet. All four judges rose to their feet. The roar was deafening. Angelo looked around in disbelief, unable to process what was happening. For a moment, he thought of his grandfather and felt as if the old man were standing somewhere in the crowd, smiling proudly. When the applause faded, Simon began speaking, his voice unusually soft. "I've been doing this a long time," he said. "I've seen talent. I've seen surprises. But what you just did, that was different. You didn't just sing. You made us feel something deep. Truly deep." Angelo's lips trembled. "Thank you, sir," Simon continued, "and I'll tell you what impressed me most. When everything went wrong, when the music failed, you showed who you really are. You didn't give up. You didn't run. You stood there and delivered something unforgettable. Then it happened. The moment no one expected." Simon looked at the other judges, then at the audience, then back at Angelo. "I know exactly what I'm going to do." He reached forward and slammed the golden buzzer. The explosion of gold confetti dropped from the ceiling like a rain of dreams. Angelo covered his face with both hands, overwhelmed. His mother ran from backstage and embraced him tightly as the judges stood clapping. The audience chanted his name. It felt like magic, destiny, and triumph all swirling into one breathtaking moment. But the story didn't end there. After the audition aired, Angelo became an overnight sensation online. Millions watched his clip, calling him the Filipino Elvis, the boy who conquered silence, the kid with a heart louder than fear. Yet with fame came pressure. As he advanced to the live shows, critics began to appear. Some said he was too young. Some said he was just lucky. Others questioned whether he could handle the bigger stage. Angelo felt the weight of expectations crushing him. During rehearsals, his voice cracked. He started doubting himself. One night, alone in his dressing room, he spoke quietly to the charm in his hand, as if his grandfather were listening. "Lolo, I'm scared." That night he dreamed of his grandfather sitting on their old bamboo chair, whistling an Elvis tune. In the dream, his grandfather said, "Remember, Apo, people don't follow perfect voices. They follow honest hearts." The next day Angelo stepped into the live show with renewed strength. He performed again, stronger, braver, singing not to impress but to heal. And just like before, he touched the hearts of millions. Angelo didn't just prove he could sing Elvis. He proved that greatness can come from the smallest barrios, the humblest homes, and the bravest hearts. He proved that dreams are louder than fear. And he proved that sometimes, a Filipino kid with nothing but a voice and a wooden charm can walk into America's biggest stage and shake the entire world.